Hello my friends, and welcome back to Thuya Hill. I'm super glad to have you here today because we are going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is gardening. So I'd like to share with you some of the plans I have for the garden for this year. And I'd like to share with you some of the ways I plan to organize my garden information and some of the books that inspire me and some of the fun things that I have bought to go in the garden. So I'm going to pour myself a cup of tea and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So one of the things I love the most about the garden is that it has taught me so much about life. It has taught me patience. It has taught me that when I fail, I can try again and learn from my mistakes. It has taught me that there is beauty all around us. I have learned the absolute miraculousness of a seed and growth and what good growth looks like. I've learned the importance of sunshine and water and healthy soil. I honestly feel like God has used gardening in my life so much to teach me incredible things about His world, and I'm very grateful for that. So I have certainly not always been a gardener. When we moved to our first house, there was a plot of land behind, and I started a little garden. And through that garden, I learned by trial and error what to do and what not to do. And I can safely say I am still learning that concept. I have by no means arrived, but it's a fun thing to practice learning. With gardening, there is always something to learn, and for me, that's a delight. So what I'm going to start off with today is showing you what I plan to plant in our garden this year. So I went ahead and purchased my seeds from Johnny's Seeds this year. You can find their link in the description box below, but I have heard so many good things about Johnny's. And I've actually never ordered from them. I've always ordered from other suppliers. But I've heard that they have great seeds, great germination rates, and so I thought, I gotta try it. So I bought myself a bunch of seeds and I'll show you what they are. I'm not sure that I will plant everything I bought this year, but I like having seeds on hand in case I somehow get a wild hair and want to plant more than I thought I would. Most of these are organic, and probably most of them I will plant. So the first one is the Brandywine tomatoes. I got the Sakura tomatoes. These are hybrid greenhouse. I got myself some Touchstone Gold beets because I love beets, but I really love golden beets. These are also organic. These are yellow zucchini squash. I did not grow squash last year, but I thought it would be a really fun thing to try and grow this year because they're so abundant and they're very forgiving, and so I figured why not go ahead and try it. Then I bought, here's some flowers. So I have tons of flower seeds on hand, but you really can't ever have enough zinnia or cosmos, right? I mean, they just kind of go together like peanut butter and jelly. You need to have these. I bought some carrots. So these are the Nagovia carrots. I bought those. And my favorite to look at, to eat, all the fun things, Swiss chard. Yes, I bought myself a big packet of the Swiss chard. This is the rhubarb chard, and it was beautiful in the pictures. Sometimes the pictures lure you in and you're like, I love how that looks. I want that in my garden. I also bought some okra because pickled okra is probably one of my favorite things. A friend of mine made it for me last year, and I may or may not have eaten the entire jar by myself. So I'm planning on making myself some pickled okra this year. Then I got the Astro arugula. Arugula is my favorite green from the garden. Love it. I love the versatility. I love the peppery flavor. I think it's beautiful to look at, and so I got myself a big packet of arugula. I bought some of the natural sweet corn. I did plant corn last year. It did okay. We'll see. I may or may not plant this. I did want to have it on hand though. And my favorite, probably many people's favorites, is the French breakfast radish. I bought myself a big packet of that because I'll just be sowing them throughout the whole season. I like the radishes at all times, spring and summer. They're delicious at any time. Then I bought bunching onions. So we'll see how that goes. This is butterhead lettuce because who doesn't love butterhead lettuce? It's so delightful. I bought some common chamomile. I have never grown chamomile, but I love drinking chamomile tea. I just ordered chamomile from Mountain Rose Herbs, but I thought how fun would it be to have my own? So that's a goal this year. These are the organic hybrid cherry tomatoes, the citrine variety. And then I have pickling cucumbers. They're called Cool Customer. So that is my seed order from Johnny's. Now I'm going to show you my most exciting purchase for the garden for this year. Okay, so this may not look like much, but to the lover of gardening, these are very exciting. These are the Charles Dowding seed trays. Now, what is so unique about these trays is they are heavy duty. They are designed in such a way that they're easy to filter water out and have the roots come out and pop out when you're ready to transplant. They're brilliant. They're very, very strong. I don't see them breaking anytime soon. If you've ever purchased those trays from like Lowe's or Home Depot or your local garden shop, you know as well as I do that they do not last. Maybe one season they'll last. But these are strong and heavy duty and certainly seem like they will last a very long time. So last year I did the soil blocking technique for my seeds and I have no complaints. It worked really well. I enjoyed it, but I really wanted to try using Charles Dowding's seed trays this year for starting my seeds. So that is probably my most exciting garden purchase that I have made this year. So the other thing that we're going to plant this year are more apple trees and more grapevines. So last year I planted 4 grapevines. I have them going up on cattle panel because I like the idea of them being able to climb. I hope that I can get them to do that. Okay, we'll see. So I bought additional grapevines and I also bought 5 new apple trees this year. So I bought 2 Granny Smith and 3 of another variety that would help with pollination. I'm really excited to plant these apple trees. I have this dream of having a little orchard in the back. I just think it would be beautiful, and the fruit that could be enjoyed from a little orchard just makes my heart sing. So we'll see. I have dreams. I know it takes time, but I am willing to wait. And then next, I want to show you some of the ways I plan to stay organized this year in the garden. So I use these binders for all sorts of things. I use them for homeschool. I use them for my own little work and projects. And I thought it would be great to carry it over into the garden. These are just plastic folders from an office store, and they have a little envelope in the front and a place for your papers that have been 3-hole punched. They're nice and heavy duty, and I like that you can fit a lot of papers in them. So what I have in the front are the planting dates for my region, and it shows when to start seed indoors, when to plant your seedlings or transplants, and then when to start your seeds outdoors. And it goes based on the frost dates or the moon dates. And I really appreciate that. It basically lists all the things that most people would be planting. And then next I put a calendar to show me when I've planted stuff, when I need to plant stuff. This is just a way to get further organized. I print these calendars all the time for homeschool and other things that I'm doing, so I just added those to this book. And then finally, I have these nifty little plastic zipper folders, and these will hold receipts and will hold the tags from various plants that I'll be planting. I don't know how many tags I'm going to have. I know on the apple trees I have the tags, and the grapevines I have the tags. But I'm not going to be putting my seed packets in here. I may just put a little post-it that has like a list of what I've planted and then stick it in there. I'm also going to put receipts in here in case something doesn't make it, and then I can bring it back to the garden store if need be. I wanted to show you what I did last year, which wasn't great, but it worked. I went ahead and saved all of the tags from the plants that we bought when we did our landscaping. I also saved the tags from the roses that we bought, and I actually put them in plastic bags and just wrote garden landscaping on them. This is not a bad system. It worked just fine. But I am most likely going to be adding these tags to my folder so I can have everything in one spot. That will make me very happy to get organized. So the other things that I have purchased this year for the garden are a variety of roses from David Austin. I love their roses. I already have several out here on our property, but I wanted to add a few more. I did go ahead and order 4 new rose bushes that should be here in the next couple of weeks. And finally, I ordered a bunch of dahlia bulbs. Again, those are not here yet, but they should be here in the near future. So next I want to show you some of the books that get me excited about gardening. So when I'm at this phase of the year, I am so excited to get my hands in the dirt and get out there and start waking up the garden again. One of the ways I get myself in that mood is by looking through some books for inspiration. And I want to show you what those books are. So the first one is this book by Martha Stewart. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's called Gardening. And she has the most delightful pictures of her garden in this book and her flowers. And I really glean a lot of information and inspiration from her book. I would say this is probably my favorite book of all time in my gardening collection, and it's Monty Don's The Complete Gardener. I love him. I love his show on YouTube. I think he has tons of wisdom, and he just makes gardening sound like so much fun. And I mean, it is. He doesn't need to make it sound fun because it is fun. But the way he talks about it makes me want to get out there in my garden and just get things done. He's great motivation. So this book to me is like a textbook. I learned so much when I read through this. If I have a question about a specific plant or I want to know details, I go to this book. It's a great resource to have. So I highly recommend this one. And then this one is for inspiration. This was given to me by a dear friend. It's a secondhand book. It's called Designs for American Gardens. And it just has pictures of layouts of different gardens. And even though our garden is already laid out, I find myself getting inspiration by just looking through this. And last but not least, this is another secondhand book called Highgrove, Portrait of an Estate. And this is the gardens of Prince Charles at Highgrove. And it's a beautiful book. The gardens there are so gloriously beautiful, and I gather and glean a lot of information when I look through this. So those are the books that have inspired me. Next, I want to show you the system of organizing my seeds that I have been using for the last several years. Now, I am not saying that this system is the best. I could definitely up my game in organization here, but so far it has worked just fine. So I store my seeds in the house in a box that I labeled seeds, of all things. And I just find it real easy when I want to go in and I want to find a certain type of seed. I have them mostly organized according to the type of vegetable. So I have my root vegetables in one area, and I have my flowers in another area, and I have my brassicas in one area and my lettuces in another area. And that means I can just go through here and kind of thumb through and see, okay, here's my brassicas. That's what I want. Or here's my root vegetables. It makes it easy for me to stay organized. I don't have a ton of seeds. I mean, I have a pretty good amount, but this is just the way that I have stayed organized over the years. One day I would love to get labels and dividers and all that, but for now, this is working and I'm okay with it. So that's my seed organization. All right, my friends, that is it. Those are my garden plans and inspiration for the 2023 growing season. I hope that you have found some inspiration and joy in this video today. And if you have any tips on gardening or ways that you stay organized, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. So please feel free to leave a comment. I really appreciate you joining me for a cup of tea and some garden talk. And I do look forward to seeing you in another brand new video very soon. Bye for now.